Hello Commanders, and welcome to the Psylim. I am Commander Psylim, and in this video I will walk you through what you need to know to jump right into Elite Dangerous with your first attempt to bounty hunt. Starting out, you can bounty hunt with your starting ship, a Sidewinder class, small, multi-purpose ship. Your starter ship is very small and weak, with very little armor, shields, and only 2 small weapons. Once you can afford an Eagle, it is well worth it to upgrade to this ship as your bounty hunting ship, as it will provide you with a 3rd small weapon and more shields. Going even further, the Viper Mark III is a huge upgrade from the Eagle or the Sidewinder once you can afford it. The stock Viper comes equipped with twice the shields and armor as the Eagle, and 2 medium weapons in addition to the 2 small weapons. This results in almost twice as much damage as the Eagle and 3 times the damage of a Sidewinder. Before we leave the station to hunt some pirates, we first need to make sure our ship is flight and fight worthy. We do this by looking at our ship panel to the right of the cockpit. We need to know some important keybinds to do this. Open Options, Controls, Interface Mode. Review the keys or buttons used for the UI panel, up, down, left, right, and select. Also know the keys for the next panel tab and previous panel tab. If you use virtual reality, the look to activate features are on by default. I recommend you turn these off, since if your glance passes over those windows while you are in a dogfight, it will momentarily take control away from your ship and into the panel that you just glanced at. By ensuring that these options here are set to does nothing or shows the panel, you can make sure that you don't inadvertently lose control of your ship. I do recommend that the looking at role panel focuses the panel, because this will become useful later in a dogfight when you have a ship-launched fighter. The first thing we want to check before undocking is that we have enough power to run all of our equipment. We do this by selecting the Modules tab and looking at the bottom. If the bottom number is 100% or less, then we are fine. If it is above 100%, we need to manually adjust priority settings for each module. I will cover this in more detail in a later video. The next thing we check is that we actually have weapons loaded out on the ship. We can check this in the Modules tab as well, but I prefer to verify this on the Fire Groups tab. Here we can see different groupings of weapons. In all of the weapons we have on our ship, we can only have a primary and secondary fires assigned in any one group, but multiple weapons can be assigned to any one fire trigger. All of the weapons assigned to one of the fire triggers in a single group will all fire at the same time when that fire trigger is pulled. Here, I have assigned lasers to secondary fire and multi-cannons to primary fire. If you do not have weapons, or you want to put different weapons on your ship, you must first go to Starport Services. Once there, go to Outfitting, and then Hardpoints. As you add or remove weapons or other modules, your power demand goes up or down. You can see this under Total Power. You are concerned about your power with hardpoints deployed. Ensure that you maintain power under the limit, and be ready to do power management, which I will cover in a later video. You should equip a mix of weapon damage types. I prefer thermal and kinetic. Minimize the variations of your weapon types, because it complicates combat later. Next up, since we are not Johnny Badass, we want to ensure that we get help from the police. We do this by selecting the next tab over titled Ship. Under this tab, we scroll down to Pilot Preferences, move right to the selection titled Report Crimes Against Me, and ensure this is turned on. Now when a ship fires on us illegally, as all wanted pirates will do after we attack them, the police will come and help us out if we survive long enough. Next, we want to ensure that we are topped off with fuel, ammo, and are fully repaired. We can do this by selecting Starport Services, scrolling to the rightmost column, and selecting each of the 3 options. If these options are red with 100% next to them, you are already topped off. If they are red and don't have 100% next to them, you have outstanding fines or bounties that you must pay off before being able to use those services. If you have a bounty and pay it off, you will be arrested and deported to a prison ship. Now that we know our ship can fly and fight, it is time to undock. Exit the Starport Services menu, scroll down and select Launch. The ship will now be moved to the outside of the starport, where our docking restraints will be released. The landing gear will be deployed, so we will need to retract our landing gear, as it will make us far quicker. Fly out toward the mail slot, covered in a blue air retention shield. To make this process easier, use vertical thrusters to line up with the mail slot instead of pitching the ship up or down. It is easier to adjust up and down position using vertical thrusters rather than pitching up or down. Do not exceed the speed limit of 100 meters per second, as failure to obey this law can result in fines and even bounties if you accidentally kill somebody by ramming them. Now that we have exited the station, carefully speed up and get far enough away from the station that it no longer mass locks the frame shift drive. This is visible on the bottom right of the heads-up display. When the blue light extinguishes next to the mass lock, we are free to engage our frame shift drive. There are 3 modes of travel in Elite. The first is normal space, where we undocked our ship from the station. We will also engage in combat in normal space. The next mode is Supercruise. If another star system is not selected as our destination and we engage the hyperdrive, it will automatically go into Supercruise. We cannot use our weapons or travel in reverse in Supercruise. Additionally, vertical and lateral thrusters have no effect in Supercruise. Here, we can travel faster than light towards astronomical objects within our solar system, but not to another solar system. For that, we must enter the third method of travel. Hyperspace can be entered by selecting another star system from the navigation panel and engaging the hyperdrive. I will cover this in a later video. For now, I have entered Supercruise and will now be searching for some pirate hotspots. Easiest of these to find is the navigation beacon, orbiting each main star of every inhabited star system. To find this, select the navigation panel on the left. Ensure the navigation tab is selected, then within the tab, click over to the right and scroll down to find the navigation beacon. Select this as a target. To the left of the radar, a sphere has now appeared. The blue circle is the target, and its position on the sphere shows where the target is relative to our ship. A hollow circle means it is behind us, and a solid circle means it is in front of us. Maneuver the ship to line up with the target so that it is solid and in the center of the sphere, and accelerate. As we accelerate in Supercruise, the maximum speed will change based on how close we are to the massive objects like planets and stars. Next to the target circle in the canopy is a countdown timer. This is the time it will take to arrive at the destination if we maintain this current velocity. Wait until that number gets between 6 and 8 seconds, and move the throttle down into the center of the blue. With the throttle at the center of the blue, we are ensured that we will not overshoot the target. As the target is approached, the status to the left of the radar will update and show what range and speed is required to safely drop from Supercruise into the target location. Both the speed and distance will be automatically met if the throttle is maintained in the blue with an arrival time of greater than 6 seconds maintained. Our ship computer will tell us when we can safely drop down into the location. Once we meet all conditions to drop from Supercruise into the target destination, toggle the frameshift drive and we will drop into normal space at the target location, in this case, the navigation beacon. As a bounty hunter, we are searching for wanted targets to destroy for their bounties. Be careful not to assault somebody who is not wanted, or it will result in a bounty for us, and we will become the hunted. To find out if somebody is wanted, target them and point the ship in their direction. After a few seconds have passed, the scan results will update the target information window on the left of the radar. If the person is wanted, a red wanted alert will display in the target information pane. With this information in hand, we can now safely destroy this target and claim his bounty. In general, shields are weak against thermal weapons like lasers, and ship's hulls are weak against explosive or kinetic weapons like multi-cannons and missiles. This is only the case for low-level, non-player characters, as more advanced commanders and non-player characters will engineer their ships to be more resistant against these attacks. Plasma accelerators and railguns bypass most of the resistances that can be engineered into these shields and armor. Multi-cannons draw less power from the weapons distributor than lasers do. Using all the weapons quickly drains the weapon's capacity. To help alleviate this, I can put more pips into weapons and use less lasers. Since this Mamba is distracted by the police that are attacking him, I can put all my pips into weapons, sacrificing my shield strength and ship's maneuverability. Once we have dispatched the pirate and claimed a bounty, we will head back into the station. Do this by entering back into Supercruise. Ships larger than yours can mass lock you, slowing your charge time to enter Supercruise. This delay does not occur if you are entering hyperspace, which will more quickly allow you to escape from a very bad situation. For now, since we do not want to hyperjump to a different system, speed up and open range to the large ships to break mass lock. Select the navigation tab of the navigation window, scroll down until we find our home station, and select it as our target. Just as we did before, accelerate toward it in Supercruise. Lower the throttle into the blue once between 6 to 8 seconds, and drop back into normal space once the ship computer indicates that it is safe to do so. Approach the station, and once within 7.5 kilometers, activate the navigation window. Select the Contacts tab, scroll down to the station, press to the right, and select Request to Dock. Confirm that our docking request has been approved by listening to their response and observing that the blue text displays above the radar indicating which landing pad we are assigned. To help with getting into dock, imagine the mail slot had a runway projecting straight out from the mail slot that extends several kilometers. The first thing we want to do is get our ship near the runway. Once we are close to the runway, we pitch and yaw the ship so that we are aligned parallel to the mail slot. From here, look at the ship superstructure around the mail slot and also look through the mail slot to the back of the starport. Use this to judge whether you are lined up too high, low, to the left, or to the right. Use your vertical and horizontal thrusters to get lined up right in the center of the mail slot runway as we approach. The speed limit applies here as well, so make sure to keep under 100 meters per second. Once within a few hundred meters of the mail slot, rotate your ship to line up properly, closely match the rotation, and then enter through the mail slot. Now that you are safely through the mail slot, the target location indicator within the orange sphere to the left of the radar will show us where the landing pad is once clear of the mail slot. As long as the previous instructions were followed, you should be pointing straight to the back of the starport. Do not adjust your pitch from here. Rotate your ship so that the landing pad will be directly in front of you. Continue to slowly approach the landing pad and use your vertical and lateral thrusters to land squarely onto the pad.
Welcome to the starport. Check the wide array of services we offer and enjoy your stay at our facilities.
Now that we have safely landed, choose Enter Hangar so that the landing pad is clear for another commander to land. While being lowered into the hangar, select Starport Services, followed by Contacts. In the Contact screen, select the Authority contact and turn in your bounty vouchers. Not every station has a representative from every faction in the galaxy. You may get a bounty voucher from one of these factions that you are unable to turn in at your home station. To turn this bounty in, you must find a station that has that faction present, or turn it in at a local interstellar factors for a heavy fee. I hope you found this video helpful. I look forward to making more videos like this in the future. Until then, Commanders, Integritas.